Hey everybody, it's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R chat for Sunday, July 21st, 2013. Well. Sharon switched Summer's paternity results. Now, I have to first hand it to my Y&R chat friend who called into the voicemail 2 to 3 weeks ago. Kim hipped me to this idea that Sharon could have switched the paternity results, and at the time I talked about it on Y&R chat, but I also thought, I don't know, that might be a little too wild. It's possible, but surely Sharon would not do such a thing. But now here we are. It's happened. It's happening. I almost cannot believe it. And I feel weird about it. The whole thing feels just weird. Kim had called back in this past week and also mentioned something that I thought was just really insightful. That because this twist of what Sharon did was revealed to the audience only, and for the most part we're watching the show this entire week knowing what Sharon did, but nobody else in town knows what she did. It's almost as if we as viewers were forced into seeing this situation from Sharon's point of view. And Sharon's point of view is twisted, it's distorted, it's mentally ill, and it gave this sense that we are watching this whole thing play out through a cracked window or a kaleidoscope. And I just thought that was such a brilliant point that Kim made, and it really kind of it is how I feel too. It was weird because I got spoiled a little bit. I don't remember who did it, but somebody spoiled me last, I think over the weekend or something, or by the time I got to Monday's show, I kind of already knew that that was getting ready to be revealed. And so I was watching all of this week's show with that knowledge, and there was a scene before the big reveal at the coffee house where it was Summer and Faith and Sharon. And Summer is obviously upset, and Faith, it comes in and she's really excited to see her sister, and she is playing with that bracelet that Summer had given her, and they're having this moment of, we're sisters, and Summer's visibly upset, and Faith asks Summer what's wrong, and Summer's in this position of lying and having to say these are happy tears when it's anything but. And the whole time Sharon was standing over the scene, and knowing what she did before it was even revealed, there was just something so weird in that moment looking in Sharon's face, because I didn't see guilt. Did you? Like, I don't feel any guilt coming from Sharon whatsoever. Sharon, it's almost one thing to mess with other adults' lives, but like Sharon is rocking this teenage girl's world for her own selfish reasons. She's like just doing this to Summer like, oh, well, it's a means to an end. It's about me. As long as this is what I need, and everything else just be damned. But when children are involved, it's extra horrible. And I mean, there's a part of me that's so, like, it's like watching a train wreck, or, you can't take your eyes off of it, but it's still, like, horrifying. It wasn't until later that day Sharon goes home and she's talking to Ghost Cassie, and she admits that she switched the paternity results, and she explains why she did it, that she was at the time feeling very low. Adam had just dumped her, and she just wanted something to make her feel good when this opportunity came up. And honestly, that's why I think Sharon does a lot of the things that she does. She just wants to feel good. Inside, she feels depressed and low, and so she's constantly reaching for something to hold her up. In a lot of ways, I think that that's always been the case. That's why she does a lot of the things that she does, the sleeping around, the stealing. She just wants she's looking for that momentary feeling of goodness. And so it's really difficult because on the one hand, I am forced to sort of understand what Sharon's perspective is, but on the other hand, it's so horrible what she did, and it's so hard to forgive her. And Connor, another YNR chat friend, had called into the voicemail, and like, we're feeling exactly the same. Like, he feels exactly the same way I do. It's like torn. You understand that Sharon misses Nick. You understand that she sees him as this port in the storm, that her life is torn apart and she just needs something. But it's still wrong. At the end of the day, it's still wrong. And watching her use Cassie's memory to justify everything that she's done, it's really bad. It is really bad. And I know that the fans are going to be totally divided on this. I really feel in some ways it's just like walking through a minefield, because I feel angry almost that this was happening, because it's like, oh darn it, like half my friends are gonna be like, oh Sharon, darn it, and then half my friends are gonna be like, well, we kind of understand. And it's just so hard. I mean, I got several really good voicemails this week from you guys, and it was very on both sides of the fence. Michael called in and left me a really funny voicemail bringing up the point that, like, what is this, passions? I mean, it feels like so outrageous, just ridiculously outrageous. Like, this incident of Sharon doing this destroys Sharon's character more than when she was sleeping with Victor, more than when she took over Newman Enterprises, more than when she burned down the ranch. Like, it's crazy. As you know, Michael even said to me, like, Sharon has always been desperate and needy, but she's never been manipulative. This is a new low for Sharon, and it feels like a Sharon that I don't know. It feels like Sharon cares about Nick, I understand, but would she really keep him away from his kids just to be with him? Because that's what she's doing. It's really horrible. Gary also left me a really good voice message, pretty much saying, like, how is Sharon ever going to come back from this? How on earth are the fans and the residents of Genoa City going to ever forgive her? When people find out what Sharon did, they are going to be coming after her with torches in the middle of the night, ready to burn her, like burn her at the stake. This is horrible. And I'm telling you, at the end of this, in one way or another, it's all going to be chalked up to Sharon being off her meds, which is the same thing they did with the Newman Enterprises takeover and the burning down of the ranch, which bothers me. It's like YNR is getting away with all of these inconsistencies in the character, even though I'm sure some would argue that it's not very inconsistent, but then just chalking it all up to her being off the meds, and then there we go. So, I just don't know where to fall on all of this. Kim had called into my voicemail this week and also sort of planted the seed that maybe the twists are not over. Maybe there's more that we don't even know about. Could Sharon have hallucinated that she switched those results? Did Sharon really even do this? Because she's hallucinating Cassie. She's seeing this ghost, so is it not possible that she went on some kind of, I don't know, mental tangent and thought she switched the results? I don't know. I mean, is she seeing Cassie? Is Cassie actually dead? Is there any possibility that Victor hired somebody maybe to come in and impersonate Cassie? That would be extra horrible. I mean, is somebody messing with Sharon? I don't know, because I feel like at this point YNR has twisted the storyline and then twisted it back and they're getting ready to twist it again probably, and I don't know how to predict anymore. I mean, I guess I can only go on the information that I know, but it certainly wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility that Victor could have hired somebody to switch up her meds. And Mason was on the scene in his early days being hired by Victor to switch her pills. Maybe if Mason didn't do it, maybe someone else did, or maybe Mason finally decided to go through with it. I don't know. It's all insane. And I have to make the conscious decision to just go with it. I mean, I love YNR. I'm not going to stop watching YNR. I just have to keep going with it, because it's like, when Sharon is good, she's boring. And when she's bad, though, she's bad. I mean, she's bad. Sharon is like the new Phyllis. This is the kind of stuff that you would have expected from Phyllis back in the day, and not even, I guess, that far into the history. I mean, Phyllis was, when she first came onto the show, crazy trying to keep Paul and Christine apart. These are the kind, just like doing these wacky things, and I guess her character was able to be redeemed, so maybe Sharon could too. But don't you get that sense that it's just like, whoa, we're losing Phyllis, but we're gaining this new Sharon? I don't know what to think. I really don't. I don't know what to think. I read an article this week, though, that said that YNR's ratings are up. So if that's the goal, then goal accomplished. And I think the ratings were up significantly. So I don't know. I want YNR to stay around. I'd rather have this crazy version of YNR than no YNR, I suppose. So I mean, I could hold it against Sharon forever. I could complain about how inconsistent it feels, and it does. I could complain about a million different things, but it's doing no good at all. I mean, the whole Sharon thing, it's a twist. It's a shocker, that's for sure. It's rocking my world. It really is. Because another thought I had was, great, as much as I hate to admit it, this whole Sharon switching the paternity test results thing levels Sharon with Chelsea. It's like they're on equal footing now. They're both lying about lying about a paternity. And it's horrible for both of them. So it's rocking my world again, because if I want to forgive Sharon, that means I have to forgive Chelsea. If I hate Chelsea, I have to hate Sharon. So I just don't know what to do. It's crazy. Sharon had a dream this week. She's lying on the couch and she's allowing her mind to just float, and she has a dream that her and Nick are a family again, and she's holding Faith in her arms, and he comes in and kind of kisses her, and I mean, I think we understand with both Sharon and Chelsea, really, that specifically with Sharon, though, that she wants to feel secure. In Sharon's mind, Cassie's death was paradise lost, and everything in her life after that really started falling apart. And I mean, this has really been a crux of Sharon's character, although I think we know as educated viewers of the show that that's not exactly true. I mean, Sharon has kind of always been off. I mean, I don't think that she's ever been manipulative like this, but it's not true that Sharon had no problems before Cassie's death. So the fact that she's idealized her life with Nick, I think, is also a symptom of her illness. She tries to, and is almost successful in manipulating a way to get Nick to stay overnight, because Faith has a bad dream or something, and she thinks there's monsters in her room, and she comes running downstairs, and Sharon says, well, did you want Daddy to come take care of the monsters? Yes, Faith wants Daddy now. All of a sudden, Faith is super needy, and it's totally Sharon feeding this to her child. If Sharon were healthy, she would be coaching Faith on what the family situation is, but no, Sharon's neediness is definitely rubbing off on Faith, because all of a sudden Faith is chattering all over the place about how she's gonna have a family again. So Faith has that hope, the same thing that Sharon has, and people are starting to notice. Phyllis noticed a little comment that Faith had made about wanting to be a family again, but I think she kind of played it off. But then there was a scene with another scene with Faith and Summer, and they were having a tea party at Sharon's house, and Faith again said something about how she's looking forward to being a family again, and Summer heard it, but thought it was weird. And then she goes home, and there's this very cute little scene, by the way, where Phyllis is getting ready to go to Nikki's MS fundraiser gala, and she's got this beautiful gown on, and Summer sees her, and there's just a cute little, like, you can tell that Michelle Stafford is wrapping up here because she's having lots of little moments with the people that she's worked with for so long. But Summer is telling her to do a model walk and show me the dress. I want to see the back. And they sort of do this cute little interaction. And it was a nice mother-daughter heart-to-heart moment. And Summer also revealed to Phyllis that it's so hard for her to want to tell Faith the truth now. Summer has now developed this really close and easy relationship with Faith where she doesn't have to talk about all of the drama that's going on in her life. She can just be. And the last thing she wants to do is destroy this innocent relationship that she has left. And so Summer mentions to Phyllis what Faith said about being a family again. And Summer, I think, didn't think a whole lot of it, but Phyllis is now putting the pieces together, and Phyllis, I think, realized that Sharon is in some way or another using this situation with Summer's paternity as an angle, as an opportunity to get back together with Nick. And so Phyllis actually asked Summer, did Sharon say she was going to the gala? You can tell Phyllis wants to have a conversation with Sharon. And Summer mentions, no, actually, she said she was going to Cassie's grave. So Phyllis goes to Cassie's grave looking for Sharon, which, by the way, in any other context would be totally inappropriate to, like, cause a confrontation at Sharon's daughter's grave. But Sharon is at the gravesite having another conversation with Ghost Cassie, and she's talking out loud about how nothing is going the way she planned it. I mean, the woman comes up with this crazy plan, and in her head, I think she honestly thought Nick was gonna come back to her in an instant. And now it's been, what, a week? The plan isn't really going exactly the way she wants it, and so she's getting frustrated. She's telling this to Ghost Cassie, and Phyllis overhears Sharon telling Cassie that she switched the paternity results. And of course, also, by the way, from Phyllis's perspective, Sharon is just standing there talking to herself. What a weird and a situation to walk in on, and you see Phyllis's face, and she's like, what? What? Oh my gosh. There's no way that Sharon, I don't think Sharon is even strong enough to fight mentally back. I don't think Sharon is going to be able to spin a lie quick enough to fool Phyllis. I think Phyllis just overheard this, absolutely knows what Sharon did, is allowing all of that to sink in, and Phyllis is going to rip Sharon's face off. I mean, she's just gonna claw it off, and Sharon's not gonna have a face anymore. And then Sharon is just gonna go crazy on Phyllis. She's gonna, like, crazy fight with her, like an insane, like, Sharon may end up in a straitjacket after this, I don't know. But I think that there's going to be some kind of epic fight between Phyllis and Sharon, which I think could be a fitting end to Phyllis, to end it on her rivalry with Sharon, which is really one of, a long-standing theme, and it's almost kind of sad that it's going to be gone, but I think we're winding down on Michelle Stafford's final scenes, and I think this could be an absolutely incredible fight between those two. I mean, it would be sacrilege to send Michelle Stafford Phyllis out on, with anything but a bang. Hey, maybe I was wrong. Avery seems to have decided that she wants to stand by Nick. She wants to support him even though he lied. I wonder, though, if that has anything to do with the fact that Avery can sense Sharon hovering. All of a sudden, Sharon is way up in Nick's life when she really wasn't a couple of weeks ago. And women know. I mean, another woman's trying to get with your man. So I think Avery maybe is trying to stake her territory a little bit, but there was a pretty good scene between Avery and Summer this week where Summer tries to talk through the feelings that she's feeling, and Avery finally decides to open up about how she's feeling, and essentially they both feel deceived, but that doesn't make their emotions go away. That doesn't erase the love that they both have for Nick. And it was a nice, tender moment between those two, and it was nice to see them bonding. Summer still has a lot of resentment, a lot of anger. She mentions, by the way, to Avery that if it had been Adam who had done this whole thing that Nick did, everybody in town would have called Adam Satan. It would have been such a different story. I think partly because Adam has that history, but it is true, and don't think that irony is lost on Adam either. He picks up on that right away, and we'll talk about that later. But Nick is now having to go around and tell everyone the truth, what he's done, and he tells Noah this week. He stops by the bar, tells Noah everything, and Noah was incredibly upset. Noah felt betrayed too. I think Noah's reaction really rivaled some of the big ones, Phyllis and Summer. I mean, Noah couldn't even stand to look at his father, which is something we haven't seen. There's always been a respect there, and for the first time, Noah didn't know what to say, couldn't really even stand to be in the same room as Nick. So Noah is also going through his emotions. Here he thought he had a sister, and now to learn that he doesn't, I mean, that all of these things, all of this bonding that his sister and he have shared now is negated, even though we know that's, as viewers, not true. But there was also a little scene where Kyle comes into the bar after Noah has already found out, and there's an interaction between them where they're both just sort of mourning. Noah has lost a sister, Kyle has gained a sister, and Noah pours Kyle a big old tequila shot, and he's just trying to drink his sorrows away. I almost wonder, like, I don't know how many more times this whole paternity thing is gonna twist, but there is a part of me that thinks, I wonder if they're gonna hook up Noah and Summer someday. I mean, if maybe Sharon hallucinated the fact that she switched the paternity results and she didn't really do it. I wonder if they're gonna try to hook up Noah and Summer someday. I don't know. I don't know what to think about this whole thing. But, everyone's mad at Nick. I think, it is kind of, there is some important distinction. Nick kind of white lied about the paternity test results a little bit. I mean, he didn't intentionally go out and switch them the way Sharon did. I think what Sharon did is just so much worse, if she did it, than what Nick did. He just didn't follow up on it, and he should have. But now he's having to deal with the consequences. He's told, pretty much everybody in the family. The one thing that that bothers me is, I don't know if Nikki knows yet. I'm not sure. But Victor knows. Nick told Victoria this week as well. So why aren't any of the Newmans going to comfort Summer? That really bothers me. I haven't haven't seen Victor or Nikki or Victoria reaching out to this member of their family. Victor found out last week, made it all about himself. Has he tried to call Summer once? I mean, if it was your granddaughter, wouldn't you at least call to check in on her? I don't know. So, Summer and Faith are having that tea party at Sharon's house, and it's really innocent, and Nick shows up out of nowhere, and Summer is naturally very upset to see Nick, kind of wants him to go away, but Nick says, as soon as Faith runs upstairs, Nick tells Summer it's time to tell Faith. So they're trying to initiate a further rocking of Summer's world when her relationship with Faith is the one innocent thing she's still clinging to. And I felt, of course, the same way Summer did, because why? Why tell Faith? She's too young to understand. Tell her when she's older. There is no reason to tell Faith whatsoever. Come to find out that Sharon was the one that initiated that. Can you even freaking believe that? That Sharon would let her daughter think that her sister isn't really her sister all because she wants to get with Nick? The Nick and Jack confrontation was actually pretty good. Nick shows up at Jack's doorstep and tries to apologize, but Jack punches him right in the face instead, and Nick deserved it. Absolutely. It was like the tables were all of a sudden turned, because Nick is always the one who finds out about something he doesn't like and then he goes around punching people, and this time Jack hit him what looked like really freaking hard right in the face, and Nick just took the punch, which is so unlike Nick. Nick is a fighter. He loves to go and throw his muscle around. I could not even count the amount of fights that Nick's been in, and now he's just standing there taking it. Guilty. I mean, absolutely guilty. And I think Nick, as a broken man, did a fairly decent job of explaining where he was coming from. I mean, both Nick and Sharon have acted in desperation out of their daughter's death, because Nick explained that, I mean, again, everything we already knew. He explained to Jack that he did what he did because of Cassie. He couldn't bear to lose another child. And I do think Jack felt a twinge of remorse over hitting Nick as he explained about his dead daughter. But, you know, Nick, the thing that I thought was particularly interesting about the scene was Nick went on to explain to Jack all of the million ways that he really believed that Summer was his. Going back through old photos, she puts her finger to her face the same way that Nick did in his old photos. You know, he just had a litany of reasons why he felt and like absolutely confirmed that Summer was his child. And of course, now knowing that he's been deceived too made me feel really awful for Nick. He's giving away his daughter when it is really his daughter. And it has created really a heartbreaking situation, because Jack is at the same time coming back and recounting all of the moments that he missed in his daughter's life. And he's enraged at Nick, rightly so. I think Nick took it well, but Jack is going on about, you stole her past, but her future is mine. And I'm looking forward to seeing her graduate from college. I'm looking forward to walking her down the aisle. And I know that just had to cut right into Nick. He is losing his second daughter. And in some ways, it would be harder to resolve in your mind than a death, because you still see her. I don't know if it would be harder, but it would still be hard. And it's difficult on both of them. Both Jack and Nick, it's horrible. Jack has this added element of his addiction, and he hasn't been touching the pills, but he's definitely been wanting a drink, wanting to make the pain go away somehow, and he almost pours himself a drink after Nick leaves when Summer shows up, and I think she's just there to gather some of her things. But there's this moment where Jack and Summer come face to face for the first time, thinking that they are father and daughter, and it was awkward but tender. Jack is trying so hard to be strong, and he's telling her, you don't have to call me Dad. Let's just not rush this. Jack doesn't want to put any pressure on it and send her away forever, but you can tell he's trying not to cry. And I felt like Summer was really good in that scene with Jack. You really got a sense of where she is and how she feels betrayed. And Phyllis is kind of lurking around a little bit. She's torn. She feels horrible for Jack, mad at Nick, but at the same time, she still feels love for Nick. That hasn't gone away. Nick was still a good father to her child, and I will always contend that she still, you know, loves him pretty hardcore. I think for Phyllis, for so many years, Nick has been it. And now, all of a sudden, even before this whole paternity switch came up, to think that that's not the case, it would be ridiculous. But now Jack is paranoid about Phyllis having so much sympathy for Nick, and he's still slightly angry at her for keeping the truth from him. Jack is constantly feeling like Nick took the family that he could have had. And it really makes me, especially since Michelle Stafford is leaving, want to see some flashbacks. We really haven't seen very many flashbacks from when Jack and Phyllis were together at the, around the time of Summer's conception. I feel like there was a lot of opportunity to show us some flashbacks that we just haven't gotten, and in some ways it's sort of indicative of where the show is right now. They don't want to focus on the past, they just want to focus on the future, and the bam, 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 twist, twist, shocker, boom. But I miss those slow moments. I mean, anything, a romantic moment between Jack and Phyllis, that I think would put the cherry on top of the cake that is Jack's sorrow. I've said it last week. Peter Bergman is so amazing. I'm with Jack every step of the way on this. Some flashbacks really, really would have sealed that deal for me. Jack is going to be devastated when he realizes that Summer is really not his daughter. He's been through, everyone in this situation has been through the ringer times 10 because of Sharon. And Jack is, I think, just trying to focus on the future. He can't change the past, focus on the future. So pretty much a couple scenes later, Jack has totally forgiven Phyllis. And Phyllis, I think, wants to move forward in her heart of hearts. She had this really nice conversation with Avery. Again, another Michelle Stafford wrapping up her final scenes with the people in her family that have been with her for the last, how long has she been on the show? Like 15 years? But it was actually a moment of healing, I think, between the two sisters. Phyllis admitted openly that she will always love Nick, and in a very sad moment actually asks Avery to love him and take care of him too. So you could just, it almost sounds like she's gonna die. But Jack decides that in order to move forward with his life, he wants to propose to Phyllis. So he's got his ring box out. Like, how long do you think Jack has kept that ring in the vault? He's probably had that engagement ring for months and months. Jack probably would have stayed with Phyllis all of this time if not for the fact that she had the affair with Nick. And I think that is a lot of Jack's driving force. I think he knows it. I think Phyllis is Jack's true love in his mind. Phyllis is the one. Problem is, I think in Phyllis's mind, Nick has always been the one. So I don't know, we're going to have to see. Jack is going to be devastated too if something happens. We know Phyllis is leaving. I don't know if she's going to die or what, if it's going to be left open. I have absolutely no idea. But he is going to hopefully have a chance to propose. Another thing I wanted to mention is just that Jack is holding the rain box in his living room when Kyle sees him and, asks him, what's up with the ring box? And Kyle ends up giving Jack his blessing for he and Phyllis to get married. But at the same time, dang, they barely acknowledged the fact that Phyllis kissed him. I'm sorry, that just feels like it was such a big thing that just got swept under the rug. Oh well, they barely talked about it. Kyle should feel mortified for eternity about all of that. Another thing I wanted to mention related to Kyle is that he goes to see Nick this week, and he pretty much gives the old, how could you do this, Nick? And I think Kyle has a right to be upset. Nick made him feel like he was a second-class citizen, not good enough for his daughter for months, and now to learn the real reason behind that, and just Kyle also feels betrayed, also feels like he was robbed of a relationship with his sister, and now he has the added layer of mortification that he was dating his sister and Nick did this to him. So Kyle has absolutely no idea how to feel about Summer now. Feelings don't just wash away. Romantic feelings especially. It's just becoming weird and distorted in his mind, although you wouldn't really be able to tell it with what the actor is doing. There was a scene where he and Abby are again at the coffee house, and it was so made light of. Abby said something like, oh, Abby made some kind of quip about how Kyle was in love with his sister, but it felt like it wasn't as serious enough as it should be. I mean, for crying out loud, if you found out that you were dating your sister, you would be wrecked. And I think that that is being shown in Summer's journey, but it's just not with Kyle. And I don't think that's the actor's fault. I don't think that he's being given the opportunity, certainly not being given the screen time to really go through what his emotions are. Although if it was me, I would try to inject as much pain into the whole thing as I could. I mean, he's not getting the focus, and so therefore Kyle's character just feels totally disposable to me. I don't know, maybe YNR has plans to focus in on him in the future. Abby also mentioned to Kyle something about how he went through a similar experience when Diane tried to make it look like Victor was the father of Kyle. But apparently Nikki stepped in and did something to put the kibosh on that, and then found out that Kyle was actually Jax. I don't remember, I mean, I was watching that time, but I don't remember things like that. I cannot remember that detail. I do sort of vaguely remember that there was a little bit of a paternity question around Kyle's birth, but I don't remember the details. If you do, please leave me a comment and let me know about that. Refresh my memory. But I thought it was interesting that that was brought up, because is YNR planning another dang paternity twist here? I mean, is that all these writers know how to do is paternity storylines? I mean, there's a world of other opportunities out there that don't have nothing to do with paternity. But we're just stuck on this. But I can't help wondering that. I had gotten an email from a YNR Chat podcast listener, my friend Sue Ellen, who made me think of this, like a week or so ago. And at the time I thought, I don't know. I'm not sure if YNR is going to go for it. But shoot, now I think, what if YNR is planning to make Kyle Victor's son? I mean, it certainly dawned on me when he was sitting at that bar with Noah drinking a shot of tequila. Is this sweeps season or what? Is it July sweeps? Because, say what you want. YNR's bringing some drama right now. My favorite drama, of course, being Lauren, Michael, Carmine, Fenn. Now, to start out, I have to say, I feel in some ways about Gloria the way I have felt about Phyllis. Less is more. I feel as though the less I see of Gloria, the more I appreciate her when she is on screen. So it was good to see her this week, and she's got so much bravado, so much egotism. She comes to the hospital, finds out that her grandson has overdosed, and she's saying, what, this all falls apart as soon as I'm out of the picture. I mean, she, Gloria is not the voice of reason in the Fisher-Baldwin family, but she sees herself as that. And so it was funny and fun to see her, just, tromp into the situation and insert herself. Gloria got real angry with Lauren over the situation, and in fact Gloria, without mincing any words, claimed that everything that's gone on with Fenn, Fenn being lying there in a hospital bed, is Lauren's fault. directly. And I want to know what you guys think about that. Do you blame Lauren for this, everything that's happened, this sequence of events? Because on the one hand, I think Lauren's not perfect. She made some bad decisions, but I don't think that it's fair to say that it's all her fault. But on the other hand, it's like I got a really good voicemail from Patricia this past week who mentioned, yeah, you know, it is Lauren's fault. If Lauren had never had the affair with Carmine, all of this never would have happened. And to boot, Patricia made an awesome point that Michael and Lauren were not there keeping track of what was going on with Fen. Instead of them having couples counseling, they should have been having family counseling, because they let all of this stuff go down with Fen without really paying that much attention to him. There were so many signs that led up to the drug overdose that Michael and Lauren did nothing about. So, you know, it is hard to feel like they did the best job they could when I don't think they did. So anyway, I'm curious to know if people kind of side with Gloria or side with Lauren on that one. But then, of course, as soon as Lauren reveals to Gloria that she and Michael are actually all back together, Gloria gets all lovey-dovey. She does a 180 in a matter of seconds. So it was kind of hilarious. She changes her tune. Now, Lauren starts to open up to Gloria about everything that Carmine is doing, and that it was Carmine that, you know, gave Fen the drugs. And Gloria said something kind of telling. She offered to hook Lauren up with Angelo, I believe it was, and have Carmine whacked. Like, get rid of him off the scene. And I thought that was interesting. That idea is on the table. Let's hold on to that and not forget it, because that could come back into play. Now, Michael. Michael is struggling. At the beginning of the week, we are at the police station where Paul has brought Carmine in for questioning, but Leslie, as his lawyer, is able to convince Paul that they really have no evidence to hold him, and this just it enrages Michael even more. I mean, Carmine is taunting Michael. He's going out of his way to make Michael want to kill him, and Michael says out loud in the police station that he wants to kill Carmine. I mean, come on. Like, Michael has vocalized in a police station that he wants to kill Carmine. So no matter what happens if Carmine dies, that plants a seed of doubt in Paul's mind. Paul heard it. Everybody heard it. Carmine gets let go. Michael is so angry that he throws everything off of one of the desks at the police station. I'll tell you, if Paul wasn't his best friend, Michael would have been arrested for that. It's showing and establishing that he is ready to be physical, that he's so has mental anguish over what's gone on with Fen, that he's and Lauren and his family and his life being destroyed, that he's ready to bring out the physicality. And Michael even says out loud, he vows he is never going to let this guy hurt their family again. And then Carmine gets out of jail, goes to the coffee house, and we see him open up his laptop and watch his sex tape in public, by the way. I mean, it's pretty ballsy to make a sex tape, but then to like open it up on your laptop and sit there and watch it at a coffee house. Oh, I mean, I'm surprised he didn't call some people over to go see it. Like, hey, yeah, that's me, and, you know, Lauren Fenmore, the owner of that department, that huge department store, that's me banging her right here. Check it out. And we also see, just on the side of the screen, that the video has views. So now he's uploaded it to a site. He's not just trying to enjoy it for himself. He wants others to see it. And I think for a moment, let's talk a little bit about Carmine's motive. Why did Carmine take this extra step? Was it because he wanted to humiliate Lauren? Was it because he kind of had this, you know, if she won't be with me, then I'm going to destroy her life? Is it continuing as a part of him trying to get with her? Is it revenge because Michael and Lauren didn't believe him about the fact that he didn't give Fen the drugs, and that Carmine had actually called 911. He'd actually called Lauren and Michael and tried to warn them, and in return they blamed him. Is it revenge based? I want to know what you guys think about his motive there. And also, Fen is still insisting that Carmine was the one that sought him out and talked him into taking the drugs. Now, just for philosophical sake, I guess, is there any chance that Carmine actually did give Fen the drugs? I mean, I guess I've got my eyes open for twist, wondering where the next twist is going to come from, but is there any chance that that's true? And Fen has not shown to us, the audience anyway, any level of remorse. I mean, of course we don't trust Fen. Fen has been lying. He's obviously a screwed up kid, but is there any chance that Carmine actually did give him the drugs? I mean, could Carmine have orchestrated it from behind the scenes, maybe told the dealer to approach Fen to give him the pills or the meth or whatever it is? I just think that's interesting, possibly something to talk about. Now, Fen comes home from the hospital, no rehab. Lauren and Michael are telling him that he has to seek counseling. That just figures to me. It bothers me. I don't know why that particularly bothers me, but like, yeah, Fen's just home like nothing ever happened because everyone can just OD on meth and then go back to normal. No, that's not how it works, YNR. I mean, at least do some research there or something. For crying out loud. No withdrawal. It's nothing. It's all plot driven, and that just bugs me. So Fen is at home. He's, I guess, trying to recover with Michael and Lauren when he gets an email or some kind of notification on his handheld device. And he opens it up, and Fen sees his mother's sex tape. Now, Fen had the line of the week. I'm telling you this, I enjoyed it to no end. Fen looks at the handheld device, sees the video, and he says, well, I definitely have something to talk about with the therapist now. That was a good line. I mean, truly, truly. I wonder who sent that to him. Do you guys have any theories on that? I wonder if it was Carmine. I don't know if it's sort of assumed that it was Carmine. Is it one of his friends saw this and decided to taunt him some more? I'm not sure. I think if it was Carmine, that's significant. That shows that he is really trying to ruin Fen's life as well. So I am curious to know, because I think that would enlighten us a little bit more about Carmine's motive. But now, I mean, the tape is out. And it's juicy from what everyone says. Lauren, humiliated and enraged. She says out loud, too, that she wants to kill him. I mean, it's humiliating on a personal level. It's humiliating on a business level. Everyone that Lauren does business with, nationally, internationally, she's never going to be able to wipe this clean. It doesn't matter what they do. It's never going to go away. And so she is, like, I think, ready to go and get Carmine and rip his throat out. Michael is ready to go and rip his throat out. Both Michael and Lauren feel that the legal system is letting them down, so they have to circumvent it. I mean, I think Lauren could certainly sue him for libel. He taped her without her knowledge. That wouldn't be very interesting, of course. But it is so juicy. It really is. There was also another moment where Fen gets a text message from another person kind of trying to bully him, and Fen opens up the message, looks at it, and gives it to Lauren to read. And she says out loud, it says, "Your old lady gives good." I love that. That feels a little bit edgy to me. That feels a little bit risque for me. I love it. It's a little dirty. I like it, YNR. That was so good. At that point, Michael had already left the apartment, and in his mind, he was going to try to get the video taken down. That was his first step. So he has this meeting with this Genoa City buzz guy who was irritating. I mean, where'd they pull this guy off the street? I mean, he must have, I don't know what his connection was or who he was, but it was a bad scene. Like, I actually watched it twice, and it was just bad. Christian the Block was wonderful, but that guy, I mean, for crying out loud, of course they're not going to pull down the video. They're not doing anything about whatever's going on with Neil and his stalker, so I wouldn't count on Juicy Buzz for anything. So the guy is very antagonistic with Michael, says, we're not pulling the video down, you can just go ahead and slap me with an injunction. So he leaves. Carmine has overheard this whole thing. That whole meeting took place on the boulevard, and Carmine's behind the bar. So Carmine walks up to Michael's table, and he smugly says to him, so, seen any good videos lately? I mean, that's like straight up asking for it. He's asking for it. And you can tell Michael is on edge. It's like he's had it up to here. He's got no more room left to suffer Carmine's quips. And so Billy happens to notice that things seem to be getting heated, and he breaks it up. But Carmine goes back to work, and we see a scene where Carmine is going to take out the trash, and I knew right away that, oh, this is the moment, I'm getting ready, oh, here we go, Carmine's taking out the trash, something's gonna happen. Carmine closes the lid on the trash bin, turns around, and Michael is standing there pointing a gun at him. Ooh! It was so good. The look in Michael's eye was just, I've had it, you know, and it just like snapped. I've snapped. I am now Dark Michael, and you've pushed me to my edge, and now you're gonna die. And the exchange that happened between Carmine and Michael was so worth it. Everything for these past couple months, it was just so worth it. I mean, Carmine, for crying out loud, is still taunting Michael, even as he's got the gun pointed at him, saying like, you're not man enough to pull the trigger. And Michael's like, you don't know me very well. And Carmine's saying, you don't really want to Carmine went back and forth between being smug and also kind of being scared, because then he also said, you don't really want to kill me. And Michael's like, no, actually I do want to kill you. That's why I'm standing here with the gun. Oh my gosh, it was so freaking good. Unfortunately, Lauren is looking for Michael. She happens to go out back and walks in on this situation, and she stops Michael. It was the right thing to do. It's just, you know, I want Carmine dead. But she stops Michael from killing Carmine, and it was a moment where Michael really had to make a choice, and his choice was that he wanted his family instead. I mean, he would go to jail forever and never see his family again if he were to kill Carmine. So he brings down the gun, he walks away, and there's this moment where Carmine goes for Lauren and says, oh, you saved my life. And she just looks at him and says, get away from me. I felt it. Get away from me. So she walks away, follows Michael, and Carmine goes back into work like nothing happened. Just a little smirk on his face, just tending bar again. Now, Michael goes home too. Lauren makes him a cup of tea, because, you know, if you're gonna kill somebody, maybe some chamomile. A little green tea, something to calm the nerves, Michael. Tea might help take the edge off of that murderous rage. Lauren, I think this is significant, is questioning Michael about where he got the gun, and Michael will not say anything about it, says nothing about the gun, and I think it is significant because now there's a gun in the house. I mean, I think we all know Carmine's gonna die, and now there's a gun somewhere. He will not tell Lauren where it is, where he got it, and I think Michael knew that even though he didn't kill Carmine, he was still going to have to pay the consequences, because Paul shows up just a short time later and says, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to arrest you for aggravated assault. And, you know, shoot, just felt like Paul wouldn't arrest Carmine, even though Fenn was supposedly a witness to the whole drug deal getting him hooked thing, but Paul just arrests Michael based on Carmine's word without a second thought. So that seemed like a little bit of a double standard, but I mean, Paul had enough. He'd heard Michael say that he was going to kill him, so Paul had to do what Paul had to do, I suppose. So Michael got arrested. He got cuffed and everything. Is this like the first time that the new and improved Michael has been arrested? I mean, certainly, Michael has been witness to many, many people in Genoa City getting arrested. I don't think he's ever been arrested himself prior to when, like, he made his good guy change, when he came back into town and was all of a sudden a good guy. So it was interesting, and actually, a lot of people commented to me, too, that it was a little bit of a twist, because there was a time when Michael was bad and he was trying to rape Christine way back in the day, and Paul came in and saved Christine by shooting Michael in the butt, and now here we are all of these years later, and Paul is having to arrest Michael again. So it was things coming full circle, things running parallel. So Lauren needs to get her husband out of jail. So she goes to find Carmine on the boulevard, and she says, you know, I need you to drop the charges. And Carmine, he's so gross. First of all, because she said to him, I can't believe you made that tape of us, you scumbag. And he actually said that he made the tape because she was so beautiful. But I made the tape because you were just so beautiful. I deceived you and totally took advantage of your trust because you were so beautiful. And he's got this look of sincerity in his face. I do think that as we move further along in this story, Carmine is developing more than a two-dimensional evil character guy. There is something in the guy's face, something in Carmine's face, where he just looks like a little boy, like he just wants to be loved. And it is consistent with how he came onto the show. He came onto the show as a stalker of Angelina. So here we are now. Carmine is feeling like more of a fully developed character within these last 2 weeks, which is going to make what happens to him all that much better. But Lauren says, I need you to drop the charges against my husband, and what can I do to make sure that you do that? And Carmine says, give me one night with you, and I'll drop the charges against Michael. It's so, like, it's become this indecent proposal meets fatal attraction type situation, and I love both of those movies, so it's like all rolled into one. It's just absolutely incredible. And Lauren at first is like, no. But then I saw the previews for next week. Lauren is gonna tell Michael that was Carmine's suggestion. One more night and all these charges are dropped. And I don't think that they're gonna take him up on that offer. I think Michael would rather sit in jail the rest of his life than let Carmine sleep with his wife again, let this scumbag sleep with his wife again. But what I'm thinking is that Lauren will tell Michael, who knows, he could get out on bail, and maybe just knowing this indecent proposal type situation will further incite him. I mean, somebody's gonna kill him, right? And there's gonna be at least three suspects. Personally, I'm hoping that Carmine will bartend at Nikki's MS gala, and then maybe out back, someone will finish the job. Chloe seems to be having a good time playing Billy's wifey number 2. She's like his little secondary wife right now. He's on the boulevard, and she sees him talking to some guy, and she thinks it's a bookie, but it's really his sponsor, and she walks into the restaurant and like whacks him with her handbag. I mean, she's riding him pretty hard, as some people would probably argue that Victoria should be doing. But they end up having a conversation, and it was Chloe who initiated, to talk about the kiss. I'm sure Billy would be happy to just wipe that under the carpet and sweep it under the carpet and not really acknowledge it, but Chloe seems to want to be bringing it up. And they play it off like, oh, I think Chloe says, I was just trying to be a friend. I was just trying to be supportive of you. But Victoria is going to find out about that kiss one way or the other. And that's going to be it. She's going to be done with him. I mean, Victoria right now is having a conversation with Nick as this is happening. And she's trying to decide if she should take Billy back. And Victoria was actually also listening to Nick's story, and he was trying to encourage her to stand by her man, and in you know, been more of a subtle way. But then, by the way, really awkward moment, and again, winding down Michelle Stafford's scenes, Phyllis walks in, and since Victoria has found out everything that's going on with Summer's paternity, Phyllis assumes Victoria is going to jump on her, and instead, Victoria just comes in for a hug. I mean, these two women have never been particularly fond of each other, and now Victoria's not even a hug type of person. She's cold, and she gives Phyllis this hug, and it was forgiveness in the air, I think. So Chloe calls Victoria and is going to try to plead Billy's case, and Victoria shows up and she's less than happy about Chloe calling her and try to tell her something about her husband. And I can't say I blame Victoria for being less than thrilled with Chloe, his ex-wife's interference. That would definitely tick me off. I mean, Victoria and Billy have only been split up for a couple of weeks, and Chloe already kissed him, okay? Like, explain it away or not, Chloe kissed him. So I think, I totally understand why Victoria is concerned. Again, as I said earlier, a woman knows when another woman is trying to come in on her man, and it's true. It's true. Chloe's not happy in her marriage, so with Kevin, and she's just broken up with him, and she is looking for something. Billy is the father of her child, and in her mind, I think it's very subconscious. I don't think she's doing it on purpose. I think she's just looking for something to make her happy. She's jealous of everything that's gone on with Chelsea and Dylan. She's tired of hearing it. She wants her own romantic story. So Chloe's conversation with Victoria actually did prompt Victoria to go to Billy and schedule a visitation for Billy and the kid, and between Billy and Johnny. And it did seem like there was a little bit of hope in the air. You know, he took it as hope that things could possibly get back on track. Now, after she visits Billy, Victoria goes to the coffee house and finds Chelsea and basically blackmails her. Hey, you know how I didn't tell everybody about the actual father of your baby? She's saying out loud. Well, now I need a favor from you. I need you to keep Chloe away from my husband since you two are so close. Now, whoa. First of all, Victoria's got a nice little piece of blackmail on her hands there. Why would you waste it on this situation? I wouldn't have wasted it. I would have told Chloe to back off my damn self. I would have made sure, if she's really still wanting to repair her marriage with Billy, I would have made sure Chloe wasn't in the picture rather than going to Chelsea and blackmailing her. But Chelsea is scrambling, doing everything she can to hide the truth. She goes and makes a unnecessarily risky phone call to Chloe out in the open, telling her to back off of Billy because Victoria said so, and Adam's in the background, Dylan's in the background. Dumb. Just dumb. Now, Billy had a little conversation with Jack this week. Again, I am really enjoying their relationship, but Jack is telling Billy about how Phyllis really helped him overcome his addiction, and Billy is woeing about how Victoria is not really being there for him. Like, I wish my wife would be there for me too. Well, I don't know, Billy. You're gonna have to pick yourself up on this one. In the entire couple of weeks that you and Victoria have been separated, you've been to one whole meeting, one whole Gamblers Anonymous meeting in all of this time. How serious are you about wanting to get back together with her? As far as I can tell, he was still gambling last week. He was still getting earnings from gambling last week. So do you really want to quit? You're not seeking out Gamblers Anonymous help? You don't need Chloe to do that. Do that for yourself. So I just feel like Victoria's no angel, but I don't blame her for keeping her distance from him. I feel like Victoria's only real, and I'm not saying I love Victoria. This is not I love Victoria and I hate Billy thing. That's really not it. I think that Victoria, her only real fault in this situation is not making up her mind. Victoria needs to either stand by Billy or let him go, but stop torturing him. Stop torturing stop torturing us. I mean, obviously Victoria wants him back or she wouldn't have threatened Chelsea to keep Chloe away. Now, Nikki and Victor are on opposing sides of this whole thing. Nikki is encouraging Victoria to get back together with Billy. In fact, Nikki personally invited Billy to come to the gala. Victor, on the other hand, wants Billy to go nowhere near the gala. Victor goes to On the Boulevard where Billy is, walks in full tux, and Billy says to him, if you're here for the maitre d' job, I already filled it this morning. Such a good little quip. Billy is funny. Again, I'm ripping on Billy because I think he's just not a husband I would ever want to have in a million years, but at the same time, he's funny. I mean, it's like Billy, the character, annoys me, but Billy, the actor, is hilarious to me, and he is just really, really funny. But Victor tells Billy that if he comes anywhere near the gala, Victor's gonna have him thrown out. He's already notified security that Billy's not allowed anywhere near. I mean, I think Billy versus Victor is good. Billy's flippant attitude plays off really well against Victor's stoicness. So it's good, it's good. My question now at this point is, Billy has been kind of sniffing around Melanie, the girl that was the go-between Adam and Victor. So he's telling Melanie that they might be able to work together on some kind of common goal, but I don't know what exactly that is. Do you guys have any theories? What's Billy's plan with Melanie? Adam finds out from Phyllis about what Nick did. And again, the irony is not lost on him. Adam immediately wants to pounce on Nick. Oh, my perfect brother's not as perfect as he seems, huh? And Phyllis is very defending of Nick. In fact, she said to Adam, Nick will always be a better man than you. I wonder what you guys think about that. You think that's true? Kind of interesting. I got a really good voicemail from Tamika, who mentioned to me that, you know, she would like to see, when all of this mess comes out about, you know, the paternity of Chelsea's baby, would like to see Victor protect the Newman heir. And I would really like to see that too. I would like to see Adam and Victor working together for a little bit instead of against each other, especially because it's so convoluted when they're working against each other. But, you know, I do think that Victor has a tendency to push Adam always on the outside. Adam has made some very, very big mistakes. I've said it a million times. Adam, I think, shot first. But at the same time, Victor's never ever been able to forgive him for that. Never ever been able to trust him for that. So when Adam confronts Victor about everything that's going on with Nick, Victor is very quick to defend Nick. Doesn't want to even talk about the fact that Nick made a mistake. Again, if it had been Adam that had done this exact same thing, it would have been a totally different story. And Adam realizes that, and he wants some acknowledgement of that. He tells Victor, you know, that he actually kind of was rubbing it in to Victor, and Victor was not having it. I mean, Adam had a very valid point, but Victor saw this as, again, Adam not trying to be a team player, not trying to be a member of the family. And Adam even said something, so, you know, you're so willing to defend Nick, you're so willing to defend Summer, who has no blood relation to this family, yet you wouldn't defend me? And I do feel like Victor always plays this family card as if you have to earn the right to be a part of the Newman family, and Summer and Nick have done that. Last I checked, you don't get to pick your family. Your family no matter what. So Victor has this twisted idea that you're only family if you're 100% loyal to him all the time. And there was this moment where Victor and Adam decided to just lay it all on the line about Melanie. They've not acknowledged it for all of the time that this has been going on, that they were both double-crossing each other. And they finally decide to just have a handshake and vow to have complete trust in each other. Now, as soon as that happened, they both went their separate ways. Adam's out front on the door stoop, making another sneaky phone call to his mystery person saying, yes, gotta proceed with the plan. And Victor immediately calls another one of his mystery person spies, saying, yeah, you gotta keep an eye on him. It's so ridiculous. I don't even remember what Adam and Victor are fighting about anymore. Jeff is hilarious. It's actually really good to see him back on the scene this week. He's sitting at Crimson Lights and he's reading an article about how rich Adam is, and he decides he's got to tell Chelsea. He's got to be doing her a favor by enlightening her about her choice in man. Don't choose the pauper, choose the prince. But before he leaves the coffee house, by the way, he steals a tip off of the table, showing how much he really is in need of money. Jeff comes to Chelsea's apartment when Dylan isn't there, and he starts to try to convince her, you know, baby girl, you gotta change your thinking on this. Adam's got the money. This is what we gotta do. And he sort of, I think, implies that maybe he should tell Adam, or it's just a little bit of a threat. I think thinly veiled threat. And Chelsea realizes she cannot let that happen. So she writes Jeff a check and sends him on his merry way. A check to not tell the truth. I mean, she paid him off. I don't think that was Jeff's intention. I don't think that Jeff went to Chelsea looking for money, but it didn't hurt. I think it didn't hurt. Now, Patricia called into my voicemail this week and left a really good comment that it seems like Jeff, and in general everyone, is making Chelsea's choice about love or money. That now this is the decision that she's left with. But it's not really true, because Adam and Chelsea had love too. It wasn't just about the money. They had happiness. I mean, they did genuinely seem to love each other. The money, I think, was a side note. I don't think, I mean, people, I don't know, people have gone back and forth, and I've thought back and forth, you know, did Chelsea really want Adam for his money? I don't know at the end of the day, but, you know, I think Chelsea, at the end of their relationship, had developed a real visceral reaction to Adam's relationship with Victor when Victor didn't really interfere with their marriage. That seemed to be the problem. The crux of their problem is Chelsea didn't want Adam having this relationship with Victor, even though Adam had encouraged her to have a relationship with her scumbag parents. So, compared to Nick and Victoria, Victor really didn't interfere in their marriage the way he usually does in his children's marriages. So what's Chelsea's real problem? The for love or money thing really isn't true. I mean, I don't know. The fact that everyone in her life is making it seem like Dylan is destitute and that she's, you know, making the worst decision by being with him, I think is getting inside of his head. Dylan did walk in and interrupt that conversation with Jeff. I'm sure Dylan had to notice that Jeff was leaving with a damn check in his hand. And Dylan also overheard Chelsea trying to tell Jeff to stay away from Adam. So Dylan is now becoming distant, and I don't know if it's partly about everything that was unearthed about his past in Afghanistan last week, or if he's feeling bad about not having the money that he needs to have, or if he's starting to put together the pieces that this little fantasy that he has with Chelsea is built on a house of cards. There were no updates on Neil and his stalker this week. I don't know, dragging out that storyline is the problem, don't you think? It's just like, it's just not as interesting to me. I wish it was. And several people called into the voicemail within the last 2 weeks and have mentioned, like, when was the last time we saw or heard anything from Moses? That's where the story would be, if Neil's sort of relationship with his son. I mean, I'm telling you right now, Y&R will not give Moses another thought until he's old enough to have a love interest. He will come back aged. Who knows? Maybe Tyler is actually Moses, for crying out loud, and then Lily will have some kind of paranoia about having kissed her brother. I mean, since Y&R loves the paternity storylines, that wouldn't surprise me at all. So, Abby and Tyler had their first date this week. Are you guys feeling it? I mean, I'm not necessarily feeling it. I mean, I guess more appropriately, I'm not feeling Abby. I've tried, you guys, but I just can't feel her. They're all flirty, and then she's reformed, and she's telling him that she normally would have just invited him and thrown him right into the mix of this Newman family gala, but she's not doing that because she's new Abby in more ways than one. But there was this line where she said something to Tyler like, well, at the last gala, my brother got shot and a bomb had to be defused. And just the way she said it was so representative of how I'm feeling, rather how I'm not feeling Abby. I mean, isn't that kind of a big line? Wouldn't you know, this new guy, it's ridiculous. And like the line in and of itself is almost acknowledging the ridiculousness, and the actress just flat said it. And it's like, I mean, wouldn't you want to say, at the last gala, my brother got shot and a bomb had to be defused? Wouldn't you put a little something extra in there? I don't know. I don't love her. But Tyler and Abby are out on their date at the Underground, and they run into to Lily and Kane, and Abby doesn't know about all of the dynamic that went along with Tyler and Lily, so she's just trying to incorporate them, trying to be really nice, but it's totally awkward, and Kane is still jealous. After Lily told him everything about why she actually had to quit the job, he can't forget it. And Kane was really abrupt with Tyler, basically telling him, hey, if you got a new job in New York, why don't you go move to New York? And he, he witnessed this moment between Lily and Tyler where he sensed that she wanted him. Kane is, rightfully so, accusing Lily of being sort of jealous of Abby and sort of wanting to be with Tyler. He cannot forget her confession. And he doesn't even know the whole story. He doesn't even know that they kissed. So it's created this huge rift between Lily and Kane. They're fighting, and even the next day, Hillary noticed. Apparently she was hanging out at the Underground, peeking in on the whole situation. And I mean, she's eyeballing everything from afar. Lily and Kane have a moment where Hillary leaves the table, but she's still sitting in the restaurant while Lily and Kane are eventually making up. But it's like putting a Band-Aid on a broken trust. And from the looks of it, Hillary is wanting to be there to pick up the pieces. Okay, you guys, that does it for me. I'm sorry for all the long videos the last 2 weeks, but I've just had so much to say, and I've got a lot more feedback this week, and so I want to acknowledge everybody and all of their awesome theories. So sorry for the longness, but I hope that you enjoyed it anyway. You know, I keep meaning to mention every week that in the back of my mind, I am still wondering, when is Catherine's funeral going to happen? Because that's coming up. I mean, that's got to be on the slate for August. So there's a part of me that's just also dreading it because I know it's going to be so sad. But that's something to look for. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that within the next couple of weeks, or at least seeds being planted for that. So I guess that's it. Is anyone else having trouble seeing the YouTube video right away? I usually post it around by like 3 or 4 o'clock Central Time, so it should be up in the afternoon. And if you don't see it on YouTube, you can always go to my blog. The link is below in the description of the video. yrchatblog.blogspot.com. I always post it there as soon as it's uploaded. So yeah, if you guys want to leave me comments, I love hearing your comments. If you want to leave me voicemail, the number is 309-588-4569. I actually think you get like 2 minutes and 53 seconds before you get cut off. So if you want to have a stopwatch handy while you leave your comment. But please feel free. You can always just use the comment section of this video to go ahead and leave me your text comments. I love hearing from you. However you choose to contact me, it's always a pleasure. Okay, I think that's it, you guys. Everybody have a week, and we'll see where we are again next week. Who knows? Bye!